You know what, we talked about this in my panel yesterday. When it comes to voice acting, acting is the key, which we just said. The example that I like to use is like, pick any famous actor that you've known that's done tons of roles for years. Robert De Niro. He's played hundreds of different characters, but he always sounds like Robert De Niro. Because the goal is not to change his voice, the goal is to play the character, honestly. So you might be able to pull a line from Ed, and pull a line from Tamaki and Oron, and pull a line from Kurtz Weber and Full Metal Panic, and pull lines from different characters and bump them up against each other. Oh, well, yeah, that's the same guy. But if you watch the shows, the character is a very different character. So it's not about changing your voice. It's about playing the role accurately and authentically. There are many voice actors whose voices you recognize immediately. Some of us have very recognizable voices. We're not cast because we can sound different all the time. It's because we may be able to bring something to the character that is, capture the character, not necessarily change our voice. So, and some of them, Troy is amazing. He's got an amazing range of versatility. And I've done a lot of roles that are very different than Edward Elric. And one of my favorite compliments is when somebody writes me and goes, "Oh my gosh, that was you in such and such a show? I had no idea." That's something an actor loves to hear. But at the same time, the goal is not to change your voice with every role. The goal is to play the role accurately and authentically.
And yet, just turning the funny thing off. And yet there are times when you are going to, like Vic was saying, there are going to be roles that you are going to be completely different and become a chameleon and just become that character, and it's going to sound completely different than your normal voice. And those are a lot of fun to play too. But it depends on what the role is.
Star Ocean, we did like, I don't know how many different characters. Like, let's just see how far we can go with this and how many different things we can get. But like the difference between Yuri and Snow, they're different characters, but it's the same voice. Someone's like, do a line as Yuri. I'm like, it's 11:30. My voice, and that's one of the things that I got surprised when I came to LA is that they weren't so concerned about the character voices that I could do. It was, what do you sound like? We want to know. And I think you do have a very unique voice, and clearly you do too. And it's fun to be able to watch a show or to play a game and go, hey, and be able to pick people out. But then also, like you said, the great compliment of going, holy crap, dude, that was you? So it's cool. Oh, I want Greaser Boy back here. There you go.
Mr. Greaser Boy, you.
Would you guys like to see more games that do that?
I got this one, I'm sorry. Me, Travis Willingham, and Laura Bailey went to Tokyo, and I almost didn't get back on the plane because I wanted to stay so bad. And we did 10 days of mocap on Castlevania. Yeah, everyone's like, so are we, and they came the game. So we had fun. We had an absolute blast. And working with the Japanese was absolutely, the process that they have was incredible. And it was my first real mocap experience. It was, I can't remember the name of the company now for some reason. But I think it's great to go over there. And one of the reasons why they got American actors was because the way that the Japanese move and walk is different than Americans. It's completely different, and you can tell. There's a coolness to the way that the Japanese move, and we're just kind of lazy, like, we want American actors to walk like Americans because we look too good. They did all of the stunts and everything, and we had an absolute blast, and it was kind of marrying the two together. There's 3 big mocap houses that are in California, and they're getting a lot of work, but there's still a lot of mocap that was Resident Evil was done in Tokyo. So, and I think we're still going to see that happening more, especially with games that are based off of Japanese games. But I would do it again in a heartbeat, especially if I get to go back to Tokyo when we get